in 1962, the Tathagata Rinzai school offered an invaluable alternative to those who had been unfulfilled by the established religions in the West.
I absolutely think there is a need in the West for this type of practice. And I think that it's reached such fertile ground because faith-based religions have been satisfied, and also an objective scientific view of the world and understanding of the world also isn't satisfying both. Zen is perfectly sculpted to make that bridge, because what it does is enable one to understand the objective world in terms of the boundless aspect of ourselves, that part that typically only religion touches and satisfies. But yet it does it in a way that completely incorporates practicality and objectivity. And I think that that makes it relatively unique. Western faiths stop at dogma, and they answer all of those questions through dogma, and then they can't go beyond the dogma because that's what they've set up. And Zen, by its very nature, goes beyond all dogma. I mean, the founding words of the first Zen patriarch were a special transmission outside of scriptures, which is revolutionary, pointing directly to the heart of man.
In 1994, after practicing Rinzai for 2 decades, Cohen all but gave up his life in Los Angeles to embrace the rigorous and strict monastic existence of the Rinzai Mount Baldy Center. Officially ordained as a Zen Buddhist monk 2 years later, it was a decision that confirmed the importance that he placed on the spiritual.
If you have problems down here, you bring your problems up to Mount Baldy with you, and you deal with them up there. The idea is that it's a somewhat more controlled and less complex environment, and a lot of your complexities are left down here. So it does perhaps give you a chance to deal more directly with them, rather than distancing yourself from them. So when all of the things that you use to keep away from your problems are taken away from you, you're left facing them directly. And it's really almost the only thing that's left. But you have to want to do it. That's the thing. If you're buried in your circumstance, or your circumstances are so good that you have no need or desire to go beyond them, then you would never go to a place like Mount Baldy. Why? Everything's just fine.
I don't think there was any surprise at all when he disappeared up Mount Baldy in California to live in this Buddhist monastery, because it was something that I think he'd always planned to do, and he had to wait until the right moment in his life, in his career, to do it. And I think that interest in Zen Buddhism is consistent with many of the themes that run through his work from the very outset.
Although this decision to withdraw from public life was reported with keen interest in the international music press, for the other monks on Mount Baldy, Cohen was not such a familiar name.
Leonard's not quite as popular. He's more underground in the US than he is in Europe and Canada, I think. And so I had no idea. And I remember being put in charge of the work assignments. And this Leonard Cohen was one of the students. And so I remember giving him the job of raking out the bamboo leaves just right on the hedge out there. And I remember coming out and saying, "Oh, you're missing some of these leaves." And I got quite a look, but he's never one to put on any kind of airs, and so just one of the guys.
Although he has now seemingly served his time and gained all he can from the monastic lifestyle, the nature of Zen Buddhist inquiry and the discipline of the practices surrounding it have had a noticeable impact upon Cohen's artistic output.
I think the Zen Buddhism did alter the nature of Leonard's work. In addition to the obvious meaning, it provided him with an anchor and a stability and a structure and a frame and a place to go, literally. It gave him concentration, and it allowed him to develop certain strains of his work which he had not been able to do before, or more importantly, hadn't even been aware of before. So what did Zen do for Leonard? It brought him a certain kind of consciousness, which in fact I don't think he fully possessed before. It wasn't easy, it wasn't happy, it was hard work, and he loved it. Yes, he searches all the time, but what the Rinzai movement brought to him was discipline. And he knows that he needs the discipline.
And with the 2 albums recorded since his withdrawal to Mount Baldy, 10 New Songs and Dear Heather, a paring down both musically and lyrically indicated how this discipline had affected him.
The discipline became part of his imagination, and he realized that moving towards a more minimalist but more concentrated and direct expression was definitely the way to, I don't want to say improve, but alter his art. Dear Heather and 10 New Songs, I think, illustrate that very, very well. I would be very surprised if Leonard comes out with a new album that's anything but that.
Because of a few songs wherein I spoke of their mystery, women have been exceptionally kind to my old age. They make a secret place in their busy lives, and they take me there. They become naked in their different ways.
However, having said that, when you see Leonard in performance now, in the last 18 months or so, they're very embellished arrangements and productions and very successful. I think that the Zen has brought a greater simplicity and concentration to his work that these albums in particular have demonstrated, but in fact when he's actually in performance now, he's enough of a performer to know that may not actually work. I can't be there, and just with my little guitar sing a song. I have to do more. And he works beautifully with more, just as he works beautifully with less. And that really is the talent, I think, of Leonard.
And across a career now spanning half a century, Cohen has been able to continue gathering motivation from the world around him and to keep renovating his sound. Despite all the influences from which he has drawn inspiration across his life, in the end, he has created a body of work that is truly singular.
Leonard, drawing from, of all people, I think, Ezra Pound. Pound kept saying, make it new. Make it new. You go back to your classical sources, your traditional sources, but you as the poet, the writer, the novelist, the artist, your job is to make it new. And that's what Leonard has done. The important thing is the mix and the result of the mix. And Leonard, while we can identify the elements that go into the mix, it's what comes out that's really quite astonishing.
And in a world in which the press continually overuse phrases such as one of a kind and incomparable, it would appear that Cohen is exactly that.
Leonard Cohen is genuinely unique, and nobody has dared or been bold enough to even try to copy him. We often describe singer-songwriters as being Dylan-esque. A band with great harmonies and whatever, you might describe them as being Beatle-esque. We even talk about something being Waitsian after Tom Waits. Have you ever heard the word Cohen-esque? I think we've just coined a new word. It doesn't exist, and I think that says it all. He's a unique artist, and not only has he never been copied, I don't think anybody has even contemplated trying to do so.